Bad Bunny? A hero, right? Or is he a coward who forced himself on a married woman and a pawn who is bankrolled by the dark money of a collapsed authoritarian regime? He claims to champion the marginalized, yet behind closed doors, he is silencing women and stealing their voices. Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, known globally as Bad Bunny, has fooled the world, but his untouchable empire is beginning to violently crack. By the end of this video, you will see the suppressed evidence, the explosive multi-million-dollar lawsuits, and the terrifying political secret secretly funding the biggest artist on the planet. You will never listen to his music the same way again. But to understand how we got here, we go back to a boy drowning in quiet despair. Long before the sold-out stadium tours and the billions of streams, Benito was just an incredibly sensitive kid in the small neighborhood of Almirante Sur in Vega Baja, Puerto Rico. He wasn't the athletic, popular type. He found his only refuge singing in his local church choir and dreaming of a bigger world. But dreams do not pay the rent. By the time he turned 20, he was suffocating under the crushing weight of severe depression. He was bagging groceries at a local supermarket, feeling entirely hopeless. He later admitted that during this dark period, he genuinely thought he was going to die, believing his life was already over before it had even begun. His only escape from this psychological torment was uploading raw, deeply vulnerable tracks to SoundCloud. He poured his bleeding heart and uncommon sensitivity into the microphone, and the world finally listened. He became an icon of authentic resistance. He painted his nails, wore skirts to dismantle toxic machismo, and physically marched in the streets of San Juan to force a corrupt Puerto Rican governor to resign. He was our hero. A fragile, working-class kid who conquered the globe using only his truth. He was pure, he was empathetic. But behind that unprecedented, glittering success, a terrifying monster was quietly waking up. How does a fiercely sensitive champion of the people suddenly transform into the ultimate, ruthless villain? What you're about to hear changes everything. The transformation from the vulnerable boy in Vega Baja to an untouchable titan was violent, and it was devastatingly public. The first visible fracture in his carefully constructed, empathetic facade happened on a relaxed, sun-drenched street in the Dominican Republic in January 2023. Benito was casually walking with his large entourage when a young, visibly overjoyed female fan nervously approached him. Her phone was raised high, just hoping to capture a fleeting memory with the man whose music had guided her through her own struggles. She wasn't aggressive, she was just excited. And then he snapped. Without a single second of hesitation, and completely devoid of the empathy he preached in his songs, he snatched the device directly from her hands. Gone. He violently hurled her phone into a nearby body of water. The crowd gasped in pure, unadulterated horror. The splash of the phone hitting the water was the exact sound of a carefully crafted illusion shattering into pieces. The internet immediately erupted in disbelief. The sensitive artist who had built his multi-billion-dollar empire singing about emotional vulnerability and community had just physically intimidated a devoted fan. And the most shocking part? He felt absolutely zero remorse. Instead of issuing a carefully worded apology, he doubled down with chilling, unwavering entitlement. He publicly stated, "Those who come to put a freaking phone in my face, I will consider it for what it is, a lack of respect, and I will treat it as is." He even punctuated his statement using a vulgar hashtag that roughly translates to, "I don't give a damn." It was a terrifying glimpse of unchecked power and immense ego. The humble grocery bagger was dead. But was this just a bad day for an overwhelmed star? Or was it the first visible symptom of a deeply systemic, ruthless pattern of exploitation? And this was only the beginning. As the explosive phone-tossing controversy slowly faded from the headlines, a much darker, calculated pattern of predation began to surface from the depths of his organization. Bad Bunny's massive brand rests heavily on the pillars of female empowerment and dismantling patriarchy. Yet, his actual treatment of women tells a wildly different, deeply unsettling story. Before we even reach the courtrooms, we must look at how he treats women in the public eye. Early in his career, he developed a relentless obsession with a married Puerto Rican television host named Natalia Rivera. He aggressively pursued her, boldly demanding her husband step aside. Even after the couple made it explicitly clear they were highly uncomfortable, Benito refused to respect their boundaries, flooding her comments and constantly referencing her in his lyrics, literally trying to force himself on her. It was a chilling display of toxic machismo from the supposed progressive icon. And that's not even the beginning of the horror. Do you remember the iconic Bad Bunny baby whisper that branded his biggest early hits? His former girlfriend, Carlise de la Cruz? Yes, the same Carlise de la Cruz. She filed a staggering $40 million lawsuit in Puerto Rico. She claimed she recorded that vocal tag of Bad Bunny baby for him in 2015, and his team commercialized it globally without her explicit consent or any formal financial agreement. And then again in early 2026, this exact heartbreaking pattern repeated itself. Tainali Serrano Rivera filed a massive $16 million complaint against the artist. She claimed her voice, the famous phrase, "Mira, puñeta, no me quiten el perreo," was used on multi-platinum tracks like Solo de Mi and Eo Eo without any authorization or compensation. The progressive feminist icon was seemingly building his sprawling fortune on the uncredited, unpaid labor of the women kept hidden in his shadows. If these things don't stop you cold, I'm pretty sure this will. Even his personal life morphed into a calculated Hollywood transaction. The hero walked into the devil's house. He began publicly dating Kendall Jenner, trading the authentic streets of Puerto Rico for elite, private Los Angeles clubs. Devoted fans saw this as the ultimate cultural betrayal, labeling it a manufactured PR stunt orchestrated to capture the lucrative Latino market. He was accused of queerbaiting, performing gender fluidity for progressive applause and profit, while living a completely safe, heteronormative reality. But who was really bankrolling these massive operations and silencing the critics from the very beginning? Now coming on to what you all were waiting for. Every single global empire requires massive initial seed money to get off the ground. For a deeply depressed, completely unknown kid bagging groceries in Puerto Rico to conquer the streaming world, secure luxury brand deals, and launch a global sports agency overnight, the capital required is absolutely astronomical. Fans assumed it was purely grassroots growth, funded by sheer talent and viral momentum. They were completely wrong. To find the true architect of the Bad Bunny machine, we must look at the founder of his record label, Rimas Entertainment. The man behind the curtain is Rafael Ricardo Jimenez Dan. He is not just a wealthy Venezuelan entrepreneur with a keen eye for musical talent. From 2006 to 2007, Jimenez Dan served as the Vice Minister of Legal Certainty in the Venezuelan government directly under Hugo Chavez. Let that horrifying reality sink in for a moment. The financial foundation of Bad Bunny, the ultimate rebel artist, who aggressively protests government corruption in his homeland, was launched by extreme political wealth from a fractured nation. Does he even care about the causes he profits from? Why does this carefully hidden, fiercely protected reality matter to us? Because Bad Bunny's entire cultural currency is built on the carefully maintained illusion of authentic, grassroots resistance. He markets himself as the righteous voice of the displaced. Yet, he operates comfortably within elite, hyper-capitalist circles, mingling with the Kardashian empire and fighting aggressive legal wars to meticulously protect his vast wealth. The paradox is absolutely blinding. He did not dismantle the corrupt, oppressive systems he sings about with such revolutionary fervor. He mastered them. He absorbed their tactics. He became the machine. Bad Bunny didn't defeat the colonial machinery of the modern entertainment industry. He simply became its most profitable, perfectly disguised CEO. Do you think Bad Bunny has ever truly faced consequences for his actions? Or has unprecedented wealth made him completely untouchable? Let me know your unfiltered thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe, because next week, I'm covering someone whose secrets make this look like a child's play.